What's happening, YouTube? Okay, so today we're going to go over how to change the shock oil in your RC car, and this one is a HPI Vorza Flux. Pretty solid little machines, and I use it quite regularly out bashing at quarries, skate parks, and all the rest of it. So we just had a quick look at the shock oil there. It's I believe it's 60 or 65 weight, and it will just give us we just stop the bottom of the chassis bottoming out on some of the high jumps that we do. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are just taking off the shocks from the shock mounts. Now you could leave it like that and change the shock oil just with leaving the shocks connected to the A-arms, but I'm opting for probably the slightly easier option here, and taking the whole shock and the spring off the car, off the shock mount and off the A-arm. So just unscrewing the hex which holds in the bottom of the shock into the A-arm here, and on the Vorza there's one that screws clockwise, and on the other side it screws anti-clockwise, and you'll notice if you've got one, the head of the screw or head of the nut is actually one's black and one's white, so don't get confused by trying to unscrew both of them anti-clockwise. One of them will unscrew clockwise and one of them will unscrew anti-clockwise. So we're just taking apart the shocks from the rear shock tower, and probably a good idea, I'm not sure if I do, but take off the spoiler. But yeah, again, undo the bolts on the bottom of your shocks, and again, so just seeing there how much damping it's got, because the shock oil will increase the damping in your spring. Otherwise, if you had no shock oil in your shock, your car will be very bouncy and very undrivable. So the effect of having thicker shock oil in your shock just stops the car from bouncing around a lot, and probably gives you more stability. It doesn't give you as much rebound, so your wheel may not get down into a little ditch pothole quick enough if that's the kind of terrain you're running on, but it will, in my case, protect the bottom of the chassis from slapping on concrete or on stones or gravel, whatever it is, as we go over some big jumps. Now, as you've probably noticed, I'm a little bit of a clean freak with my RC, my Vorza, so I'm just giving everything a good clean as well. And now we're undoing, yeah, just again testing the front to see how much rebound it's got. I'm also, because I'm a little bit wary of the oil having come out of the shock, I'm going to put some Loctite on the top of the shock when we refill it, and we get some when we put the shock mount back on, or the cap that I'm just cleaning. So okay, we just empty out all the old dirty shock oil into the little beaker there. Give the shock inside a good clean. Make sure you've got any muck or anything out. Again, like I'm doing there, just compress it. Make sure there's no grit or grime, and roll up a tissue, get it in there. Make sure you get all the dirty oil out. And again, so empty out the second one, let it drain, and clean your cap of the shock, and give it all a good seeing to as well as we're going along. So again, we're just finishing up cleaning it, getting the Loctite ready, and I'm using the blue one because this one isn't the permanent one. I believe the red, if you get normally it's fairly standard kind of colouring in the industry for Loctite. The red will be permanent, and you're going to very much struggle to get anything undone. So the reason why I'm using Loctite is just because every now and then the top of the shock cap will probably loosen up, and some of your shock oil may come out, and I want to try and secure that as much as possible, seeing as we're filling it up with some fresh oil. Just getting the shock oil ready now, making sure we're having a good look and seeing how viscous it is. Filling up the first shock. Now I'm going to fill it right to the brim, because there is a little overflow valve which will let out any excess as we screw the cap back on. I'm just putting a little bit of Loctite on the side of it, and compress the shock a couple of times to try and get any bubbles out. And as we're actually putting the oil in as well, try and make sure to not to slosh it around too much, and you should get a nice good seal there, and as less bubbles, I guess, as possible you want in there, and just checking the rebound on it there. So just again filling up the second one for the front, and the white springs are noticeable that they're the front ones, and the shocks are actually shorter than the rear ones. So so as soon as they're done, I'm going to put them up straight, because we don't want to put them to the side, as there is an overflow, a tiny little hole in there, and it will I just don't want to leak any out. Now we start working on the rear ones, giving it all a good clean. Undo again, same process really. Undo the shock cap, drain it out, give it a good clean, and you can notice from the beaker that there's a good amount of dirty oil really in there, and it's it's just kind of good practice to give it to refresh the oil in there every now and then, really, not very often at all, but when you feel you're ready to upgrade, then it's always good practice. So you can see here, I'm just gonna give everything a good, give the desk a good little clean, the workspace, and we'll get the car and the chassis back in place, and we start to get the shocks and the springs all back in place. Give everything a good clean, seeing as you've got a little bit more extra space there to make sure all your screws and your holes will all fit in the correct places. So I can see here that the rebound of the shock is actually fairly good, and it's going to give me some improved stability probably, and I guess the main reason why I'm doing it is just to try and protect the chassis a little bit more as we're coming down from some of them big jumps. And we get cracking on the front side. You can see obviously we've already got the one of them in. Second one's going in fairly swiftly here as well. Sorry for the very quick demonstration here. I have sped it up a fair bit. I think the overall process took me about an hour, so I just didn't want to waste anybody's time too much here. Hopefully, if you've got any comments and questions, just leave me a question or any comments as to how I could have done this better. Then please feel free in the comment section. So we're pretty much finished up here. There we go. All the shocks complete, and then we're just adjusting the little screws to see how much height you want the car to have. And again, just make sure that the screw thread there is fairly clean as you screw it. It just helps the plastic screw there to move much more freely along the screw thread. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to any comments about your guys' experiences, what oil you use in your cars, and yeah, catch up soon. Thanks guys. Bye.